With me this evening is one of Jamaica's top high school coach. A matter of fact, I call him the double agent in the voice of Hubert Lawrence, double agent, and he is none other than Mr. Corey Bennett. Mr. Bennett, welcome. Welcome to HB Chat Track. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, HB. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome,
It's my
sir.
pleasure to join this podcast today.
Coach Bennett, before we get into things, I just want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you went to school, just basic information before we get into the
Yeah,
deep thing.
I'm originally from Kingston, kind of born and grew in Kingston. My mother is from St. Elizabeth, a place called Giddy Hall, which nobody seems to know.
Where's that? In St. Elizabeth, you
Somewhere in
said?
St. Elizabeth, yeah. My father was from a place called Mavis Bank, that's kind of rural St. Andrew. But yeah, I'm born and bred in Kingston. I went to Wilmer's Prep, went on to Wilmer's Boys School all my life. I've been Wilmerian all my life. It's ironic that I'm not at any of those schools coaching now, but
I thought about that today.
yeah, it just quite lined up for me. And I went to school in New York, actually, Long Island University in Brooklyn, New York, where I studied computer science. I was there on a scholarship, and I returned home years ago, 1996. So yeah, I've been back at HYDEL ever since. Yeah.
Wow. But coach, you are far from what I would call your calling, because you said you study computer science, but here
Yeah.
you are in sports.
Sports is, I've always done sports from I was high. My mother was the one who introduced me to sports. She always bought those footballs and always had us racing on the road. So sport was a big part of how we grew up, and we learned from early to balance both academics and athletics. And if anybody knows Hyson Bennett, she's a heavy passion person and lover of sports. So we grew up kind of through that. And yes, I know that I have a degree in computer science, but I always wanted to teach and teach persons. So my teaching came through coaching. And I believe that my coaching style is one of teaching. And so I think I'm able to impart some of the characteristics that was passed on from my mother, who I believe is a master teacher herself. So yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
Okay. Before you started coaching at HYDEL, were you in coaching before? Were you have you done any form of coaching?
While I was in college, our
That's a
coach
good place
was,
to start.
yeah, well, we predominantly had a middle distance coach. And so the majority of our setups were, pretty much orchestrated by myself and a few other Jamaicans that we had. So I used to help to set up relay teams and help set up the relay exchanges. And from as early as I was an athlete in college. So it kind of came back home with me. It was a natural transition to coming back home. My mother owned a school, HYDEL. And I worked at a couple of the schools doing some volunteer work. I worked at Wilmer's Boys actually for a couple of years. And yeah, that was a good experience as well. But HYDEL is home. And I've now adopted a new home, set up boys in CALABAR since 200 years old, which has been a wonderful experience for me so far.
And that I'm going to ask you about. But let us talk about your coaching philosophy a little bit. What is your coaching philosophy, if you have one, when it comes on to working with student athletes?
One of my main philosophies is to coach the individual. And once you made the individual better, then I think the team will ultimately be better. So we tend to focus on not just putting one blanket program to everybody, but we try to tailor make some programs to some persons based on their need. You know, I tend to move the finish line a lot, and I don't want to define persons by what is the traditional finish line. So, you know, I have a young lady, for example, who we converted to the 800 and 1500 meters this year, and she always used to sprint. So my finish line can't be what your traditional finish line is. So my finish line for her is just the improvement she's making within the discipline of middle distance. And she's going to champs this year. I don't expect her to win or even medal. I'll probably not even make the finals. But I want her to enjoy the sport and learn more about it.
She might just surprise you, coach, and give you
I
big points.
I would love that. I would love that. But
And,
I don't want us to always define persons by their placement at the finish line.
yes, indeed.
I want us to make sure that we are setting some reasonable goals for them and go out and try to achieve them.
I love to ask this question. What are some of the attributes that you look for when you're choosing athletes for your teams, boys or girls?
I mean, I don't generally like soft persons. You know, if you show signs of weakness for too long, I'm going to have a problem. You don't have to be very talented, but you have to be disciplined. And I look for the passion in the sport, because I think that once we can work on the passion of the sport, then we can get you to work towards getting some results out of the sport. But having talent without passion is a waste of time. You know, so I tend to look for the persons. I look for the small things outside of actual athletic ability that can get your athletic ability much better. So I tend to look at your toughness, your mental toughness, your willingness to try new things, and just your guts and your passion in the sport that can teach me a lot about how well you're expected to do further on in life.
Each athlete all of us have our unique strengths and weaknesses and areas for improvement. How do you approach your individualized coaching as it relates to each athlete? You don't have to give me all your secrets.
I don't have any secrets.
Good,
I don't have any
good.
secrets. I mean, that would probably be a question for the athletes, but I just tend to find a way to get along with athletes. I'm a hard task master, by the way, and my athletes would tell you that I put nothing over discipline. But when it's time to relax, it's time to relax, you know. And when it's time to rap and talk and chat about things outside of track and field, we try to engage in that as well. But you know, different persons have different qualities. I mean, I have a young man at CALABAR who he doesn't even like to lose in training, and that can become overburdening to the young man because sometimes you have to learn how to lose to be able to win again.
Yeah.
If you don't accept losing at some point in time, then you're going to sometimes enjoy the joy of winning. But you know, we try different approaches. I mean, but the main thing around every approach is discipline.
Indeed.
And you know, I can't go around that. And once you're slacking up with discipline, I'm going to have a problem. I don't like persons who are tardy. I don't like persons who don't attend training properly. And if you're not going to attend training, say, coach, I'm not going to attend for these reasons. I hate indiscipline. It really irks me. So I try to eradicate it as much as possible. And the persons who can work within a system of discipline are not the persons that will do well in my program. So I think so far we have put together some disciplined young ladies and young men who they're not perfect, but I think they are on the right track to excelling in the sport.
And it shows in your result, coach.
I'm happy. I'm happy it does. And what's even more happy is when persons can move on. And you know, a young lady who I coached, I think back in 2018, called me today. She moved back to Jamaica. She's a professional athlete, Cheyenne Salmon. And she said to me, can I come and help you with some of your athletes? It's probably high jump. And I observed her from afar, and it reminded of me when I used to coach her. Her passion for the sport and her willingness to teach and her attention to detail. You know, it was really great watching her coach. And I had her from she was 12, you know, so it was really great seeing her come back and for her services today. Yeah.
This is something you don't hear about every day. This is
No,
not something that happen every day where an athlete is actually going through their career and still find time to give
come back.
back. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
commendable.
we do have a lot of girls who are just appreciative of what we've done for them.
Hmm.
She's definitely one of them. I mean, I call them all my daughters, so I don't have any of my own, you know. So I just tend to admire the fact that they see the need to come back and give back, and it was really heartwarming to watch her today in action, just coaching, a group of girls and boys too. Um, words can't express that. So, it was good to see that. I mean, there's so many
Hmm.
who have come back, so many who have given back. And we've coached so many along the way. I mean, when you think of Brenna Liston, who's passed through her hands, and whenever she's in
I
the
have her. I have
yeah,
her on your success story
oh
to
Lord, yeah.
mention her later
Yeah,
on. But before,
she's a blessing, so I'm
yes,
happy
she
for
is.
her.
Before we go any further, let us just welcome some people on the live. Those who are watching from Facebook, watching from YouTube. Someone on the live saying, by the name of Pool, is saying Big Coach. Another person, Daniel King,
Yeah, I
Big
know Daniel.
Coach. Yeah, Big
Yeah,
Coach. Ozzy, welcome. Daniel again saying, HYDEL, HYDEL, HYDEL. Clifton Smiley, big coach watching from Boston. So that may be one of your friends watching from Boston.
yeah, he's a parent
And
of one of my girls. Yeah,
oh, the parent. Okay. Welcome, welcome, Smiley. And there's also Daniel England saying, welcome, Coach Bennett. Coach Dalton says, hi from Baylor. So I guess you know who that is.
yeah, Benjamin Dalton, coach at Baylor University. Yeah, good friend of mine as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
Sandy Henry, welcome, 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 welcome. Another question for you, Coach. Building team cohesion and positive team culture is extremely, extremely important, and we've seen that with many schools from afar. HYDEL, we've seen that. I think HYDEL is one of the first school where the captains started wearing an armband.
armbands. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that started with Cheyenne Salmon
yeah,
or
yeah. Cheyenne
yeah,
Salmon. Yeah.
yes, leading. And I've seen so many times your young ladies, the captains leading from the front and stepping up. How do you manage though to foster that sense of unity and positive energy in your teams, especially a girl team?
You know, girls can be difficult to
I
coach.
know.
Yeah. Girls can be difficult in so many ways. But once they're loyal, once they're disciplined, you have a good bunch of persons. Um,
Hmm.
these girls will go to war for me, and go for war for the school. And, my captain must be the general in charge. My captain must be able to speak what I speak. My captain must be able to lead by example on and off the track. So I think two or three of my captains have been the head girl at school. So my captains have to be just this leader that when they speak, you better listen. And we put them in charge for a reason. Um, and every time I have a very good team, it's because I have a very good captain. And I want the world to know that they're the captain so that when they go on show, they have a responsibility.
How did you come up with that idea though? The captain armband.
my favorite sport is football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that came from football. I mean, in America, know it as soccer, but I still call it football.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, that's my favorite sport, and that just came from just me being a football-minded person. We still love football. I still love football. So yeah, that's where it came from. Yeah,
That was a brilliant idea. We could always tell who was the captain
yeah.
for HYDEL. If you're just joining us, I'm here this evening with Mr. Corey Bennett, who is the head coach for HYDEL and CALABAR. And we're here this evening just to call out the alumni, the community, just for support for the team as it relates to support, coach. What do you want to tell the audience?
I mean, if I would probably be here for till midnight, but we just have a bunch of athletes, a bunch of students, um, who are majority from very poor backgrounds. we really want to do something different in their lives. We have so many success stories of persons who have been helped along the way. And I mentioned one earlier, Cheyenne Salmon. We have so many persons who have passed through the institution that just need a little help.
Yeah.
And as defending champions of girls champs, and as the defending Penn Relays champion in the 4x1 and 4x4, we don't have that past in the association that really helps us. We don't have that support that we really need. And it is even a consideration not to go to the Penn Relays this year because we can't afford it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and just think of winning the 4x1 and the 4x4 last year and being able to go back to defend your titles. But, we're thankful for what we have, but we're just not in a position where we can afford it. And persons keep asking me, why do you keep such a small team? It is because we can't afford a bigger team.
And I'm going to ask you about that as we go into the conversation a little more. So just hold that thought. But going back to your coaching and the HYDEL team, I have never seen a HYDEL athlete and in an event, and I say that person doesn't fit that event. How do you know which event best suit your athletes? I've never seen any of your athletes competing and they do not fit the event. What is your secret? How do you
I
choose
think
them to fit the event?
I think God has blessed me to for an eye for specific talents. I'm all about the body build and the temperament. So if you're more mild mannered, you may do the middle distance events. My aggressive athletes tend to sprint and jump and obviously throw. The build is a main thing for me. And I tend to like big knees and skinny ankles. They can do a lot of different things when they're young. But I tend to expose my athletes to the majority of disciplines at grade 7 level. And then we kind of see where it goes as they grow up. Some girls grow early, some grow late, some don't grow at all. So we look at different dynamics of the body, different dynamics of the stride pattern to determine what event is good for you. I had a girl, Onika Wilson, when she started with me, whatever that time was, in first form, she looked so wild and clumsy over the hurdle, but she was so aggressive.
But she's one of the best.
No. And that aggression was what I wanted to see with hurdlers. I don't like to see passive hurdlers. And that aggression, year in year, we just would modify a little bit each year, until now she is a champ record holder in the event and the ACC indoor double champion. So, I mean, it takes that eye just to see what, as a coach, you have to know what you want out of the event. And she was just wild and crazy and fearless almost. And we just took our time and just kind of honed it a little bit until we got it the right way. And yeah, it has paid off. Cheyenne Salmon used to high jump for 6 or 7 years. And her last year, I'm like, no more high jump. You're going to do the 400 hurdles. And she broke record at champs last year. So yeah.
I have seen some of your athletes, and I'm not just saying that because you're on the program tonight, but I've seen some of your athletes, and it's like they were made for the event. Karika Hill in the hurdles is art to watch. Brianna Liston, as she matured into class 1, she was a force in the 200 meters. Cheyenne Stamman in the 400 meters, 400-meter hurdles. Young Makanoff, Anika Makanoff, she was the same thing. Alea Baker, Alana Reed, they all just, they fit their event perfectly.
And that's where the passion comes in. When you try to steer them towards an event, and once they bind to the event, it's like they own the event. So
wow.
Yeah, it's almost like kind of marrying the event with the athlete, and it becomes a part of them. And sometimes it almost is as if they were, as you said, they were born for the event.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more or less just because they have embraced the event so much that if you were to see them probably in the earlier days of the event, you're like, nah, you know. But you just know what you want to see from the event, and they're giving you, and they have the stature and they have the technique that you want from the event. And yeah, it pays off more times than not, and we're thankful for that.
2022, Alana Reed was runner-up to Karika Hill in the Class 2 100 meters, where I think Karika Hill ran 11.16. And
Yeah.
by 2023, she was running sub 11 at Champs. Tell me a little bit about that
Alana.
transition. Alana, sorry,
So
yes.
Alana ran, I think, 11:22 in 2022.
In
And
2022.
she went up to 10:92
Right.
1 year later.
Mm-hmm.
Just adjusting her program a little bit. Just kind of getting a little bit more of her technique and her power, and trying to get a little more synergy between both. Alana didn't have the best technique early, and when she left, she didn't have the best technique, but she was much better than she was.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell Alana, hey, you're not going to stop running the 400 until you get to a certain point. And because she didn't want to go to that certain point, she would just get some good times early.
Okay.
So we knew that her strength base was good. And once her strength base was good and her understanding of the first 20 or 30 meters in the 100 meters, we knew we were on to something. And she's running some very good times in training.
Mm-hmm.
Her discipline had improved in the track and field significantly. And if you remember, she was a bronze medalist at the World Junior Champs.
Yes, in the
before.
200 meters,
Yeah,
yes.
22.9. So she was coming of age. And her better, she preferred the 200 at the time. And I just work with that to help the 100 meters, because if you really got to train for the 200, then it will help your 100 meters somehow. So yeah, it kind of just
Indeed.
works out well. Yeah.
Indeed. Someone on the live is asking a question, coach. They're saying, is there much difference in the method utilized in coaching girls and no boys?
It is a lot different. Some of the general things remain the same, like program writing and stuff like that, but the approach to running the program is sometimes different. They one of the main things is you give instructions sometimes different to a girl than you give to a boy.
True.
The boy processes things different from girls. I really don't differentiate on the air now, but they differentiate it, and
You
they
are totally
internalize
right.
things different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like teaching mathematics to boys and girls. They do learn differently, and if you're going to teach it the same way, you're going to be in problems. Boys are very visual, and boys like you to demonstrate stuff, and they want somebody to demonstrate stuff, and they want a clearer picture, and then they can do it. Girls, you have to kind of talk them through it kind of over and over and over and over and over sometimes. There's something I realized the other day with girls. And I know a couple of them probably online or listening.
Yes, some of them are on the
Yeah.
they're on the live, yes.
Girls are girls are extremely emotional, as you would know.
Yes, I
But
know
I think
that.
boys are more emotional than girls.
And
And
I agree with
that
you, coach.
surprised me. That
I
surprised me.
agree with you. I
Yeah,
agree.
I mean, I watch their reaction to certain things, and I'm amazed at how the boys react emotionally to things that the girls don't react to. And that just also speaks to their passion in the sport as well. And boys are highly competitive, and boys can argue today, and they're best friends tomorrow. Girls argue today,
and vex forever.
Forever. And that irks me, so especially if I'm on the same related team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier to come and get into the boys. I mean, you shot at a boy today and good tomorrow. You shot at a girl today and
next week she vex.
Yeah, so
yeah, that's true.
everyone has a different approach. You have to know how to
Yeah,
deal with that.
you're right. Coach, I have been watching HYDEL from HYDEL came on the scene in the 21st century, not so long ago. And I used to tell my friends that I think that HYDEL, not I think, I told them that HYDEL is a school that is going to bring back the girls' trumps title to the corporate area. Of course, I got my heart broken when I heard that HYDEL was in the central zone.
I mean, the iron of it,
How did HYDEL get in? I know you might not know, but how did HYDEL get in the central zone though? Because the sign that says "Welcome to St. Catherine" is below HYDEL. Going to.
what I argue with everybody every day is that we play Manning Cup, which is a corporate area trophy in
Yeah.
football.
So how
You
did
know,
how?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I know you have Manning Cup and you have the Costa Cup, and the Manning Cup
Mm-hmm,
teams are the corporate area teams, including
mm-hmm.
St. Catherine teams. Um, listen, I don't know. I don't know what they use, but that's where we
Man,
are. That's
I
where we
got my
are.
heart broken when I heard that HYDEL was central school. But how do you set team goals and performance expectations based on skills?
You have to know what you have, and you have to be very, very realistic about your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it doesn't make sense to say we have to win this year.
Yes.
That in and of itself is too much pressure. So we go for small goals. We want everybody to hit a PB at champs. Can we get everybody to hit a PB? And if everybody hits a PB, then we're good. Most time when everybody hits a PB, they're running well. So we try to set our goals in different reasons. I mean, can we get to 200 points? Can we stay in the top 3? Can we win the 4x4 at the end of the day? Can we get the most gold medals? Can we get the most records? So we set different goals from year to year. And I think once you focus on the smaller pictures, it sometimes gives a bigger picture.
There's a question for you, coach. Someone is asking any major injuries in the camp, coach?
Which camp?
Which camp? That is a good one. That's a good one.
We do have some niggles. We do have some concerns. I'm not sure that there's any team right out there I know that doesn't have any concern. But we do have some concerns. I think we are trying our best to manage it. Last year, on both the CALABAR side and the HYDEL side, we went into champ with too many injuries. And there are persons out there who are saying, HYDEL win a lucky champs, and that may be so. But if you
But
knew
a
how
win is
many,
a win. A win is a win, coach.
I mean, you and I know that, but if
Yeah.
you knew how many injuries we had, you would think differently. And these are injuries to some main persons. So we're trying a different approach. The majority of these young girls haven't raced a lot this season.
That was my next
As
question.
long as we felt that they were comfortable qualifying, we just rather just have them in training most times and just temper it so that they don't have to get into competitive spirits too often, because sometimes that pushes the body beyond where the young bodies can manage. And I've done the same with the boys. My hurdle, Shaquille Garden, only hurdled twice a season. Once at Youngster Goldsmith in the heat,
Yes.
and then he hurdled at character trials. So we have to be managing them. I mean, these are young bodies, and we want them to have a life after high school. High school is just one chapter in their life. It's not the end all and be all of the sport and of their life. So we want them to have a future in the sport. So we tend to kind of run them sparingly and hope that they can get to champs being fitter than they were last year.
Yes, that was actually a question I have for you. If I noticed that your team has been low key this season, was that a strategic move on your part? But you just answered the question that
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
being
it
cautious,
definitely
you're being
was. Yeah,
careful.
I mean, if you were in our camps last year and you knew what we lost through injuries, whether 1 week before champs, whether a young man Derville who broke his hand, and he reminded me today that, sir, today is the 1 year anniversary of me breaking my hand last year, and we had persons just getting hamstring injuries and groin injuries, and it was just too much. So we just decided that let's take a slightly different approach, and I'm going to raise them a little less. And I think that so far, so good, yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Indeed. I have a question here from a track and field fan. A matter of fact, this question was text to me today. And it has to do with a comment that was made by seven-time champs winner Anthony Carpenter in an article where he said, and I quote, I am yearning for the day when my alma mater can take home the Marty McGeddy's trophy again. How do you temper the high expectations of Calabar fans, especially the old boys?
But Daniel England is online, he can probably answer that. But we have to be careful.
Yes, indeed.
A lot has changed
Mm-hmm.
from those days to now.
Yeah.
Um, and probably ways I'd probably have to talk to you after hear about. And this
Mm-hmm.
is more about I don't like making excuses. I don't like when my teams make excuses for not being at their best. But the reality is also the reality, you know. And if you're going to measure our success by us competing against half of the African continent, then I'm going to have a problem with that. And if you're going to measure our success by competing against half of the CARICOM countries, then I'm going to have a problem with that. Because we're here to kind of focus on the local talent.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many other schools who do extremely well. Look at the schools in the West who can bring in these Africans and these CARICOM persons. They're doing extremely well. But who's paying attention to Moshet? Who's doing extremely well? And Coach
I
Garth
am.
is doing an excellent job.
Oh,
And I must
yes.
applaud him for doing that.
Yeah.
And with not as much resources as anybody else. I'm not making any excuses. But what I'm
True.
saying is when persons are going to make blanket comments about yearning for this and yearning for that, I yearn for old boys to come back and speak to the boys now about how they did it. And probably see if you can get a boy up instead of putting him down. That's what I yearn for. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. There are some comments here. Someone is asking, let me just put it there. How is the synergy? How is the energy in both camps?
Well, energy is one, synergy is not necessary.
Mm.
You know, they both can be distractions to each other, but I think they're
Yeah,
accustomed to each other by now that they understand what I am all about and they understand what I am not about. So, um, yeah, we don't necessarily need synergy between them. I think they have a high regard and high respect for each other.
okay.
I think they both want each other to do very well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that just now we have cheerleaders from Calabar and vice versa. Calabar cheerleaders from HYDEL. And I think as a common entity between both teams, I think persons generally, would love for me to do well with my teams, and I appreciate that. So, just the way Calabar as a school has embraced the HYDEL girls is nothing short of fantastic, and vice versa. I think that we both enjoy each other's successes as well.
Indeed. I'm going to tell you a little secret on air. I am one of those persons who was cheering you on last year to win the double because it would have rewrite the legacy, or it would have add another chapter to the legacy, because no coach would have achieved that. So I was one of them last season, was saying, go for it, go for it, I hope you get it, I hope you get it, and stuff, even though I know that the competition was very tight. But I was looking at it from the perspective of champs legacy. Nobody would have done it before. So you would have taken the bar a little higher. But champs is in this air. You're the defending champion. How is the season going so far for you? Let us start with the girls.
Yeah, I mean, it really has had its ups and downs. You know, again, we had to carry a small team again, just mostly from a financial perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had to make quite a few conversions. I mean, if you think about it, Kerika Hill could still be in school.
I know, right? I know.
And so to Alana
A lot
Reed.
free could still be in school.
Yeah, and if you look at Brenna Listen last year, she could have still been in school and not with the team.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had some exodus. and we're not
Yeah.
here to keep anybody back. If we think you're ready to go, you're ready to go. I mean, if you think about Alana Reid running 1092 last year, what would you come back to prove this year? So she was ready for the next level. She made the finals of the senior 100 meters at champs, senior champs. But this has been a up and down year. It's been a tough season. We've had to make a lot of conversions. We've had two brand new four hurdlers that we had to be working with. Alia Baker, who was third at champs last year in the four hurdles, does not like the 400.
I saw her run a
Yeah.
beautiful 100-meter at the Camperdown Classic. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
That was
we're still not certain what we do with her yet.
okay.
She can go 2-4 or 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still kind of looking at both options. But the 400 is not one of the events that she medaled in last year.
Right, she did.
Yeah, and I think she would have been a good candidate to win it this year, based on her improvements. But it's just so we have to be grooming some new persons. We have to kind of be resetting the button with some events. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, we're fighting on. You know, it is. I thought it would have been easier to motivate the team to do well again. It has been difficult. I'm not sure if it's the burden of expectation. So we've lessened the burden a lot by just saying, hey, we don't need to worry about winning champs. We just need to worry about just being at our best, doing our best.
Indeed.
That'll be great, yeah. And so the nerves have started. Person starting not feeling well in the morning, everybody getting a little sick.
Oh wow. So
Sure.
coach, so what you need now is that you need a sports psychologist now. Do you have one? Is there
Don't
one
have
on
one.
your team?
I don't have one. Not
You,
one by
you,
profession, at least.
not one by
Not one by
profession. There
profession.
is a performance psychologist on the live here. Do you know the name Nicholas Powell?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay,
I don't think
okay.
so. I don't think so.
He will be on the show tomorrow night. He is actually a performance psychologist. So, like how the nerves and
Yeah.
everybody not feeling well, yes, coach. You need someone now to
I will
talk to
definitely be
the
tuning in tomorrow. And I'll have the
yes,
girls tune in tomorrow. Hopefully you can give
yes,
some tips
yes,
tomorrow as
yes.
well.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
will be
And have the
on
boys tune in
tomorrow.
as well.
Yes, he will
And
be on
the
tomorrow.
boys right now are a nervous wreck, by the way.
They're
I'm really seeing
nervous?
some of yeah, I'm seeing some weird stuff
Oh
happening.
wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, I know majority of it is just nerves. It's getting closer to that wedding day.
Yes,
The
yes.
butterflies are starting. So yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And this is where now you need someone to tap into their mental space
Yeah.
and let them know that, look, it will be okay. It will be okay. It is competition. Enjoy yourself. And yeah, I can just imagine how some of
Yeah.
them are feeling
I mean,
now.
I know you've been to champs many times, and I know
Oh,
you've
yes,
followed champs numerous times. It is different in the stands than on the track.
I can imagine.
It is different as a spectator, and yeah, spectators can be nervous like this in the stands. It doesn't compare when when the starter says "get to your marks." You know,
All right,
it really is something that
one
we have to
moment,
look at.
coach. Before you go any further, there's Nicholas Powell. He's the performance psychologist. He's saying, I love the comment about needing the support of the past student. This is something that I have been calling for our track and field for many, many years. Bringing back the people who have done it to come and be a part of the conversation, talk to the athletes, hang out with the athletes, let the athletes know that you have done it before, and and all of that. But it is it will continue to be a part of the conversation. But just to go back to what you said about the nerves, and in the stands, it's different from being on the track. Last night, I had Daniel England on, and I don't know if you were following champs in the 80s and the
Oh yeah,
90s. And I don't know if you remember this famous race between Daniel England and Donovan Powell from St. Jago.
I do.
Daniel was the man to beat. And you know what Daniel said last night? Daniel lost that race to Donovan Powell. And what Daniel said last night is that he had the entire race plan worked out. But when Donovan Powell ran up beside him, he panicked.
Yeah. It happens. It will, and there's sometimes there's nothing to prepare for stuff like that. You have to just talk them through it, scenarios,
That's what
because
he
you
said.
can't. Yeah, there's sometimes, um, especially someone like Daniel, who's been very dominant in his high school career, especially
Mhm.
to have somebody pull up on you like that in a race, it can throw off your entire game plan. So for me, I give most times athletes more than one game plan. If this happens, then we do this.
Right, right,
That
right.
happens, then we do that. Um, I just, I remember when Brenna Liston lost the 100 meters in 2022.
2022. I remember it, yeah.
I can tell you, and I'm probably saying it publicly for the first time. If they went and reran that race 10 minutes later, Brenna Liston would have won that race.
Because at the sound of the gun,
I'm
she
telling you.
was gone.
Yeah, I mean, she panicked.
She panicked. And
Yeah,
when
she panicked.
Clayton ran upon her, she
Yeah, I
found
mean,
another gear,
yeah,
but
and don't get me wrong, those girls are excellent competitors.
indeed,
But
indeed.
but in 2022, she wasn't going to lose that race.
Yeah.
She just ran a bad race. So if you remember her semis,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think her semis was like 11-2, just
Yeah.
cruising.
Yeah.
So she just ran a bad race, and I can concur with what Daniel said last night. You can go there with one thing in mind, and then you're just thrown off by a moment. And
Yeah.
in a very short sprint race, there's no time to react. So if we were to talk her through it, she probably would have gone out there and expected and would have done much better. But it's just a moment in time, and she lost her form in the race. And again, not taking anything from the champion, Tina
Mm-hmm.
Clayton,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just what I knew of Brianna Lister. You know,
Yeah,
um,
she was
we-
firing. She was firing
yeah,
in
yeah, and
2022.
I'm telling you that she would have run something special if she was okay. But
Mm-hmm.
then we had to regroup her
Because
and
we were
say,
looking, coach, we were looking for the record from her 2022.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We were
yeah.
actually looking for the record
I
and
mean, if you
pushing.
do the mathematics of 22.5 into negative breeze,
Yeah.
then you can relate.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, things happen for the other things to happen. She's now the 60-meter NCAA champion.
Yes, she
Did very
is.
well, and I know the Clayton girls are doing well as well. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I just think that we as coaches, especially this last week, and I'm going to give you a secret now. You don't need to do much coaching this week. Let's talk a little bit more to the athletes. There's just some more talking, more rap sessions. I
Yes.
told my boys today that, I asked them who was nervous. 95% of them said they were nervous. I told them I was nervous too. And they couldn't believe. I said, do I ever look nervous at a meet? And they said, no. And I said, you're right, because I kind of look nervous to you.
But
But
what
to
is
feel
what
nervous
is
is okay.
but coach, what is it about champs that we all seem to get so nervous? Because I have been in the stands and I am nervous. I My close friends know that I'm a Calabar supporter. I'm a Calabar supporter all my life.
Good.
And I have been in the stadium and I remember 2017 champs. Kingston College was leading by 4 points going into the 4x4 final. And when that 4x4 started, I could not stay in my seat. I had to go around the back because I was so nervous. And then when I heard the noise started, somebody ran and get me and said, HP Calabar is actually leading. There was no doubt that Calabar would have won that 4x4. But where Kingston College would have finished, they could have won or tied. And
There, there,
they
there,
and they
that
were
race
left
was,
back in fifth.
yeah, I mean, that race, I remember it clearly.
Yes,
There were many other schools who did not want them to win.
you
Yeah.
think so, or is it that
No, no,
those?
that I know that for a fact. There are many
No, but
other
St. Jago
schools.
had a very good team.
There are many
JC
other
had a very
schools.
good team.
I'm
Steps
telling
had
you,
a
I'm
good
telling you from
team.
the inside now. There are many other schools who did not want Kingston College to win. So they ran their hearts out to make sure that they didn't come second and third in that race. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Calabar had to depend on some person who just didn't want KC to win the champ. Yeah.
Wow.
That's,
But
that's all
fit.
it was. What's that?
Wow, that's interesting. That's
Yeah. And
interesting.
I remember speaking to one of the coaches at the time, and he said, we're going to run so hard, we're going to make sure that Kingston College doesn't win this championship. I remember
Wow.
watching that team run, and that team was running like they had their life depending on that race. And I was like, yeah, there it is. KC can win the
And the
champ.
same thing happened to Edwin Allen last year. They were leading by what, 4 going into the 4x4 and lost the championship.
No, they that was a miscount. They were disqualified in an event,
Yeah, they
unfortunately
were
for them.
disqualified in the
Yeah,
medley, which they
yeah,
lost 12 points.
yeah.
They
So
lost.
they would have gone into the 4x4 behind because we came second to them in the 4x4 and still won. We
Yes.
figured it out. If we never came below a certain point, we would have been
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, I mean, it's
Wow.
just how it is. I mean, we have some great coaches out there.
Oh, yes, we
Who've
do.
done
We
some
do.
wonderful things, and sometimes we get so caught up in rivalry that sometimes we don't get a chance to respect what
So
other coaches are doing.
it's true. That's true.
And yeah, and I've I've made some friends in the business of track and field, and I've lost a lot, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, and I
But
see
before
Nicholas's
before you
comment.
go any
Yeah,
further, Coach, Nicholas Powell said he's going to message you. I'm going to give him your
sure.
number
Yeah, man, no
so that
problem.
he can get in touch with you. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. But
And I
going
see a
back to
comment. He says even coaches get nervous in the warm up area. You're so right. You're so right.
man, it's a high school championship. Why do we get like this?
Because
And
it's
he
what is at
said
stake.
we. I
I
said
mean,
we because I'm a part of it.
when you champs is our Olympics, and you know to wait one more year to go back there sometimes seem like it's forever. You know,
Yes, yes.
so we want our charges to do well. This is our final exam, and we want to do well in our final exam. We've had a couple tests along the way, and but this is the final exam, and we just want to do well, and we want to make sure that all the preparation we did amounts to something at the end of the day. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Before we go any further, Coach, just to say welcome again to each and everyone. I can't call all the names. I see so many people on the live. Welcome each and everyone. Juan Kino, HYDEL, Mr. HYDEL, Nicholas, everyone, Marlene Green, everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're calling out the HYDEL alumni, the HYDEL community, parents, friends. We need your donation. We need your donation to do great things,
Yeah.
this season. Of course, with me is Mr. Corey Bennett, versatile coach, coaching two of the biggest teams in champs, a girls team and a boys team. Coach, track and field season, the track and field season somewhat is very long. And we're talking about from the first Saturday or second Saturday in January up until, let's say, champs. How do you choose your events, the events that you want to compete in order not to have your athletes overworked or burnt out?
You kind of want to know how many meets you need, how many runs you need to be ready. This is a World Under 20 year, and so you make different plans for your World Under 20 potential athletes, and the World Under 20 games is in August, so it's even
Mm-hmm.
longer. So you may have to go to a double peak. And I think that if you run them hard now, I don't think these young bodies can last up until August. So you have to temper it. You're going to have to give them days off. You're going to have to give them some time off, and just temper how they train. So we select meets that we believe can, one, get them qualified early, And if they need more runs, then we choose the meets to give them more runs. But we don't just go to meet for meet's sake. I've seen some schools just go to meet every weekend. I don't know how they do it. But we have to value preparation more than competition.
Indeed.
Because if you think about it like depositing money to the bank, that's your training. But when you raise is when you withdraw money from the bank. You can't keep withdrawing from the bank. It's best for you to keep depositing. So
yes,
it's best for us to just be aware that you can mimic things in training. And at the end of the day, these bodies are not made at this age to manage certain workloads, so we have to really look at it from that standpoint.
indeed, indeed. How do you I know that you have your assistant coaches and stuff, but how easy or difficult is it to manage multiple teams? In your case, you have two teams. What is it
It is
like?
it is extremely difficult. To the point where I'm not so sure how much longer I can do this on both sides.
Yeah.
Because you get no break. And even when you're at a track meet or you're at a champs or even at the pen relays, it's not like when you're only coaching the girls, you can take a break from when the boys are competing. No, there is literally no break. And on the boys' side, I think we have 42 events. On the girls' side, we have 46 events.
Mm-hmm.
So just picture having to pay attention to 88 events. Yeah.
You need some help, coach. You need some people.
I mean, the truth is that let me speak about CALABAR. I have a great management team. We have a very supportive school principal and her assistants. We have very good past students who, really want the school to do well. At HYDEL, we do need some more support, to be honest. I don't think we, as defending champions, we get enough support.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think the school knows sometimes where we're going to our track meet.
Wow.
I don't even think they even care sometimes, to be honest. But that's just the reality of it. So we don't have any support.
But the fact that you're a champion team, the community should want to give you stuff. All the stores in the area give you.
I think our community want to take stuff from us.
No, they're supposed to be giving you guys, give you food, give you money, transportation.
That doesn't happen with us. That's what we hope to happen.
Do you
And we
have
hope that dynamic can change.
do you have a marketing team, a management team that?
No, we don't. Not at either.
Are you hiring? I'm available.
I don't think we could begin to afford it.
No, no. I'm not in it for the money. I love the sport very much, and this is what I want to do.
And I'm just hoping that somebody will see our needs. I would try to come and lend some expertise to areas that we just don't have. I don't do well with begging or asking. I was speaking to Garcia about it yesterday. I don't do well with it.
Well, we will beg for you. Don't worry. We will do it for you.
I would definitely appreciate that because it is extremely difficult when you go to training and you don't even have any glue with water, So but we're good. We're tough. We're all right. But sometimes you just need some extras. I mean, I've been having to fund the program literally from my own personal stuff. I can't anymore. I have a son in college, and I have another one who should be heading to college next year. So it is just not. It's not feasible. It's not possible. So I'm just hoping that we can get some help. Yeah. Just so that these ladies can realize their dreams in the sport. Yeah.
You know something, coach? Sometimes we in the stands, we are on the outside. We think it's easy to run a sports team, a track and field team. Give us, educate us a little bit. Give me a rough estimate of what a budget looks like. You're talking about nutrition, housing, gear, medical, transportation. For a single.
HP, if I were to look at it, we would never do it. Because it would scare us. So we just try to live day by day, we live almost hand to mouth. But our girls who have stuck it out will do well. And then I'm expecting them to move on to greater things, So, I really, when I look at the budget, to feed a girl or to feed an athlete per day, at the worst case scenario, you're looking at $1,000. If you stretch it again,
one
say,
athlete.
yeah, you may look at 500. I'm talking Jamaican dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stretch it and you share a box food and it end up being $500 per girl, and now you understand why we cut on the team. So if you go to 40 girls, at $500, you're looking at $20,000 per day.
Per day.
How do you sustain that? You can't sustain that without any support. So I mean, and even if you don't go to that stretch of imagination, you go to smaller numbers, even to go $10,000 per day, which probably is about 70 US, thereabout.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you multiply that now by 5 or 6 days,
we're talking about a lot. I can't even do that now.
Yeah. So I mean, it when a child gets hurt and you have to carry him to the physiotherapy, just to go through the door, you have to make sure you have at least $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for one athlete to see the physiotherapist. And sometimes when the poor schools and the schools who need some help can't get these girls some help or boys some help, you compete against schools that have 2 or 3 or 4 physiotherapists, and why and I can understand why schools like Mushet probably has about 5-10 students on their team. And I'm saying this because
you can't afford a big team.
Yeah, and we can't either, and this is not a forum for it, but I really want the powers that be, the ministers and stuff, to really get the Catherine Hall Stadium up and running again.
Yes.
Because there's no way you can think of traveling from the West every day or every weekend to come to Kingston just to compete. It is just almost impossible, When I rented a tent, each weekend I rent a tent. The tent alone is $25,000. Yeah.
So what you're looking at? So what you're looking at now, Coach, is buying your own tent. Some things you buy so that you can have them to recycle, to repeat.
Yeah. But I mean, it just is it's rough without support. And sometimes when persons hear me say I'm not going to this thing to win it, because you need funds to put together a team to win it. You need to be able to them. You need to be able to care for them. So we just cut the numbers down, and wherever it stretches to, we just be able to manage that. It just becomes burdensome when you as defending champions, you just kind of go through sometimes, So we're getting compete with pride, though, Don't get me wrong,
I know, because I was just about to tell you that looking at HYDEL looked like one of the richest team in champs.
Yeah, because we're proud, and we compete with pride. And even when all they get for lunch is a slice of pizza, we're not going out there to show it. We're going to go there with pride. Yeah. So we never carry anything out there, because we're never ever less than anybody else out there, and that's the mentality that we have. So, yeah, I really respect our girls for just being tough.
Turn out.
Yeah, I mean, I if I might say, I had some CALABAR boys who were arguing about the brand spikes or the type of spikes that they were getting, and it just kind of ticked me off. You get a brand new pair of spikes, So, I mean, what I want them to do is take all those spikes that they don't want and let me carry it to some of those schools who need spikes.
Donate it to another school. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and just the disrespect that some of them have against some of the spikes is just
Yeah.
mind-boggling,
Entitlement.
Yeah, and
Entitlement.
I want to change that mindset,
Yes.
and I think with the help of God and the management team, we will change that mindset, because even if you're running back you might even call it bar bouncers, you're going to need to compete hard, irrespective of what
Yeah.
you have on your feet,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I want the mentality to change there, and I know it will. It will.
And that's where we have to start. That's where we have to start it.
Yeah.
That's where we have to start it. How do you approach gender specific training? You have a boys team, you have a girls team. What strategy do you use to foster inclusivity and supportive of the team?
Yeah, I mean, the girls can't train for very long,
Okay.
So our training times is roughly about an hour and a half.
Okay.
The boys can train for a little bit longer. And so a lot of modification is done, and for many reasons the girls train in the mornings and they have to get ready for school. And if you understand, when the sun comes up in Jamaica, you sometimes only get an hour before school starts. So
Yeah.
a lot of modification is done on the girls' side. But they can't train for long periods. The rest time sometimes has to be modified for the girls, because sometimes they can't bounce back to do another run. And a lot of it comes down to nutrition at times,
Yeah. Yeah.
So when your nutrition is lacking, then you're up against it. You're really up against it. So, but we don't make any excuses. We're going to go there and we're going to deliver on some very good performances. Yeah.
And this is why, coach. My thing is, I argue with some of my peers a lot. That we should not be judging the athletes sometimes when they underperform, because they are trying to navigate life. We don't know what is going on behind the scene, why it would have resulted in that athlete underperforming. So instead of commenting to discourage, let us comment in order to encourage, because they might just be going through something.
Yeah, I mean,
No lunch, no lunch, no breakfast, and they're still out here training.
HP, I mean, I've had to tailor the training sometimes because I know athletes haven't eaten,
Oh wow.
and I train hard. My program is hard, but if you can't do the program, you won't get any benefits out of the program. And we've tried to just kind of tailor make it based on the fact that I didn't ever eat it last night. The breakfast I never eat this morning. And if you go through school, and sometimes they go through school and some teachers complain that they're sleeping, and they criticize them a lot. Oh, the athletes are
I
sleeping
know.
in class.
I've heard it.
I mean, that's another story. But I mean,
Yeah.
if they understand what some of these girls and boys go through, they would probably take a different approach. And it's not just about athletes; it's about students in general. You do have many students who come to school having not eaten, and once you don't have the nutrition, you cannot function, you cannot learn, you cannot train, you cannot improve. And if you look at the statistics, most of the schools or the schools then with better nutrition programs, whether through football or otherwise, those schools are going to do well.
Yes, indeed.
And if you can't match them,
you can't beat them. You can't defeat them.
I mean, and I say this to you, I don't know how we won champs based on what we were going up against. But it's just my girls have a lot of pride. We stuck to it, and even when things became tough, they didn't crack. And I must really applaud them for that. They're some tough girls. Monica Makhanoff, tough.
Oh wow, man!
Yeah,
she is a darling. She is a sweetheart.
Tough girl. So yeah, we have some tough ones that we've passed through. And so the culture is there of toughness. Hey, don't watch that. Just go to and train. Yeah. Don't worry about that. Look, let's go again. So
And
yeah,
they
we just
compete. They compete with a smile. They compete with a
yeah.
nice smile on their faces, as if everything is okay.
No, I mean they're good, Don't get me wrong, they're
Yeah,
good.
man. I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but things could be better, but them good.
Yes,
We
yes.
have a lot of pride, and we are tough. And we have a never say die attitude.
Indeed, indeed,
And we
indeed.
don't care how much things of Gatorade you have. If you have a bottle of water, you better,
Good with that.
yeah, you're gonna be in for a rude awakening. So yeah, we're good. We're good.
Call in before we go any further, coach. Call in. We're calling out on the HYDEL fans, community, parents, everybody to. No donation is too small. I always say this, guys. No donation is too small. And remember, always remember that at the end of the day, these same young people will be competing for Jamaica. And all of us will be out there with our pot covers and calling for gold medal or PB or whatever. So let us support. And this is not about which school you support, because at the end of the day, it is one Jamaica, and this is where they start in order to get where they want to be. So come on, guys, dip in your pocket. Let us put something. It doesn't matter how small, 10 US, 20 US, $100. It doesn't matter, because this is about Jamaica's future and Jamaica's legacy. Please and
Yeah.
thank you very much. Coach, another question for you. What are some of the challenges? But you've explained most of them, but what are some of the other challenges that you are facing right now as you get ready to walk out on that track next week, Tuesday morning, for both teams?
um, I think the Calabar supporters are getting nervous. I
Yes,
think they're getting
yes, we
anxious,
are. Yeah.
and sometimes the anxiety sometimes spills over to the boys. So the boys are getting anxious and nervous. Um, I just asked them to temper it a little bit, because these boys are still fragile. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I want the boys to be careful what they read in the media, and the girls. So we're gonna park some of these phones and social media for a while,
Yes.
because some of these persons internalize things they see on social media so much that
Mm-hmm.
it affects them. And if
Mm-hmm.
and if, and if, and if somebody posts something on social media that throws them off, it affects how they perform. So when a when a Calabar alumni can say the team already, and the week before champs,
And the young men
you-
hear that.
yeah, you're basically telling the boys already,
Yeah.
and that was a little bit shocking coming from somebody who's been there and done that, and somebody who's been through ups and downs as well. Um, so I just told the boys today, because we spoke about it today, and I told them, hey, listen, hey, let's just prove them wrong. Let's prove them wrong.
Yes,
You
indeed.
know. But I think the boys are getting to where we want them mentally.
Good.
We had some disciplinary issues last year. This year is a lot better than last year, to be honest. And I can't say enough about the management team that we have, led by Mr. David Miller. Um, they're doing an awesome job. I mean, if a boy needs to get to a physio or doctor, you don't have to talk twice. And so just the support of the program. The principal today was the one who is dishing out the spikes to boys. So it's an inclusive effort. On the girls' side,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't mean to keep rehashing it, but we don't get any support from the school
And something,
whatsoever.
this that you're explaining, it sounds like real life to me. Boys, even in a sibling relationship, boys tend to get a little bit more from the parents, while the girls, you have to come home from school early, do your homework, help in the house.
And
So
cook dinner.
from early, we are juggling and we're
Yeah.
learning to survive. While the boy will just come home, put down his ball or whatever. Mommy wants for dinner, and he's good.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
so
real. It's real.
it's
Yeah.
real. It is
Yeah.
real.
It's
It
real.
is real.
I
It
mean,
is
you know, I mean, again, we're thankful for just for whatever we get. Um,
indeed.
you know, we don't make any demands on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we just ask that persons just see our needs. You know, we're going to compete with pride. You know, I'm sure we make champs fun enough for most persons,
Oh yes. Oh
even
yes.
our competitors. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, but we're going to compete. You know, we're going to surprise a few persons in areas that they've written us off.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and I would guard them against that. You know, don't care if they write us off in certain areas. You know, but we're going to bring some excellent performances. You know, so I want
Indeed.
persons to just help us to help the girls to
Don't
be able to
worry,
promote
I'll
that.
be in your corner. I'll be calling
I
out,
appreciate
and
that.
of course, Garcia is there doing her thing. She
Yeah, I
is,
appreciate
doing,
Garcia to the max.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's doing a wonderful job and think. But as it is now, based on your budget and your challenges, where are you as it relates to finalizing your plans, especially for the girls in terms of their housing and food for the entire week, and how is that going?
You know, again, I was speaking to Garcia earlier, and I think she was surprised that we are nowhere. You know, with champs less than 6 days away, we are nowhere. You know, I was asked to send a letter to board at the school from last week, and I haven't gotten a response to date. So I'm thinking that's not going to happen. Um, again, I don't know what I'm asking persons. I mean, I think pastors know our plight, so to speak. So whoever can help in any way that they can would
Mm-hmm,
appreciate
mm-hmm.
that. And anybody who has ever smiled because of HYDEL's performance, I'm asking them to see if they can support us as well. You know,
Yes.
um, I know one Kenya who has text online now.
Yes,
He's
my
a,
good
he's a great
friend.
he's
Yes.
a great supporter of HYDEL.
Yes. Yes, he is.
And we
He is.
appreciate his unwavering support of us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we just need some help. We just need some persons to see what we do, appreciate what we do, and try to help us to achieve some of the goals that we set out for these girls to
Yes.
achieve.
Especially as it relates to champs now. Champs is 6 days away. I mean, you need to know how you're going to feed your team,
Yeah,
how you're
yeah,
going to
yeah,
host them and
yeah.
stuff.
I just
Calling
don't know.
out to everyone, please, just go in your pocket and take out something. It doesn't matter how small it is. We need Heidel to be at Chance. Heidel brings a certain flavor to, and I don't know how many people used to watch when they came with the China Bob hairstyle.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of these young ladies from they were in class 4.
yeah,
They came in their white uniform and they sit together, and they're just a breath of fresh air. So
yeah.
we need to help them. We need to, Mr. Bennett, we need to get your team ready. You have 6 days, and we need to get these young ladies ready, because as I said before, we're talking about Jamaica's future in track and field, and everybody wants to see Jamaica do well at the global level as seniors. So we have to start here. We have to start putting them together. So come on, guys, let us get on board and help and help and help. Because a few years from now, we're all going to be cheering on Karika Hill. Not even a few years from now, anytime now, we're going to be cheering on Karika Hill, who went to Heidel, Brianna Liston, who went to Heidel, Lamar Distin, Alana Reed, Anika Makanov, Shine Salmon, and the list goes on.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
list goes on. So please, guys, please let us do this. Coach, my next question. Don't worry, I won't release you, but this
Yeah.
conversation is, I like how this conversation is going, but Calabar has a huge fan base. Of course, Heidel is growing, and they both have each other. They are now like a brother sister school. What can fans expect from both teams? You don't have to tell us everything, but what can we expect, especially from some people that we've not seen much, but we know their potential?
I mean, expect some fireworks, you know. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna bring it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be at our best in the line of battle. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna bring it. We're not going to focus on any shortcomings that we may have.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are out there, you're gonna know that we're there.
Yes,
You know, we
indeed.
won't be anybody beating stick.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so if you come in to beat us, you have come good. So don't think that we're gonna roll over and die. You know, you're gonna have to bring it. So expect some good performances.
Yeah.
From our charges on both the girls and boys side. And yeah, expect some exciting performances from day one.
As the defending champion of the girls, how much pressure is on you to retain this title?
None,
None.
none. Yeah, that wasn't a goal we set out last year to achieve. And again, it's not our goal this year. I want to get some mind-boggling performances. Yeah,
Yes.
I want to get some 22 fives, some 12 sevens in the hurdles. I want to break the world under 18 record and more. You know, I want mind-boggling performances. You know, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. You know, I tend to, because and this is I've always asked. I said to persons, so you win champs now, what's next? And I'm a living testimony. We won champs. What's next? It's not like it's made us any better. It hasn't made it any easier for us. So what next? So we continue to focus on the individual. You know, and many persons tend to grade you or judge you based on who gets the most points.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Ewing never won a title.
Some of the greats have never
Yeah,
won a gold
yeah,
medal.
yeah, never won a gold medal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, so we have to be careful how we measure the finish line or we move the finish line.
Yeah.
But I want person to understand that if coming third was your best, we will celebrate it.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, if making a final was your best, then we will celebrate it. As long as you can honestly say to yourself and to the team, I did my best. You know, I want you to do your best, and your best is all be good enough for us. You know, so we don't measure ourselves by, oh, we have to get the most points. I want to find a way to get the template around so we get the most points. No, we want to make sure that you go out there and do your best and give us a good performance. And you go out there and do your best and give us a good
Yeah.
performance, and then we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Just to touch the boys a little bit. Third
Yeah.
place last year. Planning to go one better this year.
We're going to be more
I'm not,
competitive.
I'm not putting any
Yeah.
pressure on you. I'm not. I'm not. I
No,
won't
no, no,
pressure
no.
you.
Listen, you can't put pressure more than the Calabar old boys.
I know. I
So, yeah,
know.
I mean, it's Calabar pride. You know,
Yeah.
Calabar always wants to win. Unfortunately, there are many schools who want to win as well. But we think we're doing it the right way. I think we're building properly.
Yes.
I think we still have a very young team.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're still in rebuilding phase. Our captain is a first-year Class 1 boy, Shaquille Gordon, who I expect to lead from the front.
Yes.
Shaquille has great passion for the sport of track and
Mm-hmm.
field,
Mm-hmm.
and that will carry him far away. You know, he has to learn patience. He has to appreciate patience, and I think he's slowly doing that. So we have some great kids, you know.
Yes.
And I think the boys are just now a little more sold on what we want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
The old boys will always be the old boys, and I appreciate each and every one of them, even the ones who criticize us down to the bone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh
Yeah,
yes. Oh
those
yes.
are also important.
Oh yes.
But
Indeed.
but
Indeed.
but we have to shield the boys from some of the
From some of
external
the
criticism.
comments. Yes.
Yeah, the comments sometimes are killing them,
Mm-hmm.
and we just have to protect them from that because mental health is real.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah, mental health is real.
Yes, it's a serious. I don't think we
And there's
understand how
no.
serious it is.
I had an athlete, I won't call her name, who the burden of expectation was so great on her. She had to leave the island for about a week just to forget about everything to do with track and field. And that's when I know, or when I knew that she started to have some mental health issues with the sport. So I told my boys today, don't speak about track and field tonight with anybody. And there are going to be more days leading up to champ where we don't talk about track and field. We just talk about stuff.
Yeah, other stuff.
Yeah, don't
Let them,
make everything be track and field.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
too burdensome. You're gonna lose
Let
sleep at
them
night.
have some. Let them have some fun now. A movie night, a games night. Come together, movie night, games night. Have some drinks and food, and just
They're young. They can't manage all the burden of
yes, yeah.
generations of old boys from way
Mm-hmm.
back telling them
Mm-hmm.
that they have to win.
Yeah.
We'd love to win. We believe we have a team who can do extremely well.
Yeah. Indeed. 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 But before
We
you
have
go
a
any
yeah.
further, Coach, someone on the discussion is saying, track and field guru is saying, the thing I don't understand is the other schools that won champs before HYDEL took the title last year, they have a lot of sponsors. I noticed that some schools have big sponsors, have a lot of sponsors. Is it that they are marketing more than how other schools are marketing themselves? Is it that some other schools know how to beg?
That may be so. Um, and I I don't have the answer for that, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
I just think that winning a champs is enough marketing in and of itself.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how to answer that question, to be honest. But I'm hoping
Yeah,
that persons will just see the need to, even if we are not the winning school, to see the need to support a program who will continue to produce
that
some
is
good
doing
athletes.
well and
Yeah.
and producing well. Yeah,
Yeah, we don't want to be judged based on the finish line. We want to be judged based on the lives that
yeah,
we've changed. And I think
indeed,
we've changed a
indeed.
few lives along the way. Yeah.
Okay, if you as you look at your team now, your teams going into championship, where do you think your weakest areas are?
Come
Funding,
on,
right?
HP.
Funding. I know,
Come
I know.
on.
No.
Yeah, we do have some weaker areas.
Yeah.
I don't think our middle distance team is very strong. I don't think our throws team is very strong on the girls' side. Um, we
That
definitely
young
don't have.
lady, that young lady that won the steeplechase last year, she fell and she
Yeah,
got up and she
yeah,
won the gold medal. She's back
yeah.
this year.
Yeah, she's back this year.
Oh, she's back. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay.
her final year in school.
Okay.
But yeah, I think one of our main weaknesses is that we don't have any depth. So there are some events where only going to field one athlete. Um, there are some events we won't field any athlete because we just don't have the depth. We don't have
Yeah.
anybody in the area that we can carry. So yeah, I mean that's part of one of the weakest parts of our
Yeah.
girls team. Our boys
Mm-hmm.
team, you know, and again, I'm not going back to
Mm-hmm.
certain things, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
or we wish we had a stronger middle distance program like in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Messiah is doing an awesome job with the boys we have. Um, but yeah, we're continue to build. We're continue building.
Yep. Indeed, indeed, that's the idea. Is there any last minute fixing that you think you could do now to improve before next week Tuesday morning?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, mental. Just it's
Mental.
just, it's just about the mental now.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can gain physically now that's going to help you next week. Nothing
Mhm.
at all. Um,
Here,
yeah, it's not the mind.
hmm
It's getting the mind in that place. It's getting the mind in that space where you're relaxed. So we, and I get today we did a lot of deep breathing exercises for the boys because um just taking a couple of deep breaths can calm him down somewhat, you know. And we now have to put them in places where it's okay to be nervous.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how are we going to deal with the nervousness?
Yes.
Um, and we're going to have those talks, and we need to have some more talks with some of those girls because I've seen some girls back out of competition because of nerves.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and I had a girl last year who 2 or 3 medical persons checked her and said she was okay, and she just kept complaining for pain, and I just knew she was just extremely nervous.
Anxiety.
Yeah, it was just too overwhelming for her, and she was young. But yeah,
Coach,
yeah.
is it that we fans put too much pressure on these young athletes to win championship, to win gold medals, to win 9 points?
There's a heavy as a head that wears a crown, and sometimes once you've reached a certain level in the sport, everybody expects that every year you must be at that level.
True, true.
And sometimes that's where the burden comes from, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the burden comes from when persons who had success in the past turn around and tell the ones who are current that themselves they're not good enough,
Yeah.
and that puts pressure on the young minds for them to start questioning themselves, you know. Um, for me, we temper some expectations. Again, as I said before, so we try to be the buffer between what fans expect and what our own expectations are, what our goals are.
Yeah, they,
And it
they
is,
need to
yeah,
tune out. They need to tune
yeah.
out the fans. They need to just don't
You
even
have
think
so you
about
have
the
you
fans.
also have some media personnel out there who are fans of certain schools,
Yeah, yeah,
and they see no other school as being worthy of being a champ except those schools.
yeah.
But when persons read some of these articles by some of these media persons who are fans of schools, it can affect these young minds.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, you have to just kind of shadow them from that. You kind of have to
We
protect them
have
from
to know
that.
how to be
Yeah,
objective,
yeah.
Yep. Let us talk about some money, coach. Some big money will be thrown out at champs. Let us talk about the incentive or the prize money that is now on the table for any school that breaks a 200-meter record will get $202,000. When I look at those 7 records, is that a fair mission? Is that a fair deal?
I mean, I guess if you're going to be spending money, it has to be a difficult task, right? Um, so
But
when you think of 22.5 on the girls' side,
coach, let us start at class 4. When you think about 23.72 for a class 4 young lady, Miss
I
Brianna,
will, I
this
will, I will never say never, but I don't know when I'll ever see anybody bring that record.
let us go to
Um,
class 3. Kevona Davis, 23.07. Edwin Allen.
23.07 is not a stretch from a young lady, Natrice East, so I believe
I
in
was I was I was going to say
23.43.
Natries East, yeah.
Yeah, but they have to manage her through the rounds,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
they was like that.
yes.
Yeah.
And when you look at 22, class 2, Kevona Davis again, 22.72, do you think Miss Douglas from Mushet
You
can
know,
touch?
yeah. I mean, I hate to put young persons under pressure,
True, true,
and
true, true.
I'm hoping that persons are not putting her under pressure. She's a first year class 2 girl, um, who doesn't seem to be fully developed as yet.
Yes, raw talent.
Um, yeah, I know her coach again is just doing an awesome job with her. But let me say this: if she doesn't win that champs, I wouldn't be disappointed because she's had an awesome season.
Yes,
And champs is more than a one-off run. You know,
true,
um,
true.
we have to really be careful of that.
Yes,
Um, I think just based on the form book, one of 3 girls sorry, to get close to that record, that 22-7.
Yes.
The quality of the field
Yes.
is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Indeed, indeed.
Yeah,
And that is and that is
it
why
is
I'm
scary.
wondering if they will get close to it. Because when you look at that race with Shania Douglas, Tiana
PHP, you
Lee,
know,
Terry
I'm seeing that
Long.
this is about to die. Let me go grab the charger quickly.
Okay,
Give me
okay,
10
okay,
seconds.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, sure. Guys, I hope you are enjoying this discussion. You know, I love this sport. I love this sport so much. Thank you all for being here. Coach just gone to get something. He'll be back so that we can finish discussing the 200-meter records. Kino is saying 202307 look touchable by Natrice East from Wolmer's. I think that one is doable also. Is that Duan or Dwayne Barrett is saying class two girls can be broken. Barrett, class two is 23, is 2272. Maybe, because that race is very loaded. So
Yeah.
just maybe.
But be careful.
Um,
But be careful
yes,
how we speak about
yes,
records. You know, we
yes,
want those
yes,
kids
yes.
to
Yeah.
be healthy.
Because
Camps is tough. Yeah.
the reason why I brought this up is because it was posted last week that any school that break a 200-meter record will be getting $202,000. And I was one of them was saying, I hope they break all seven because I want the money to go
Yeah.
into the school program. But when you look at Brianna Liston, 22.5 again. So Kevona Davis has class 3 and 2, Brianna Liston class 4, and the class 1 girls. When you go to the boys, this 20.25 by Usain Bolt, class 1. The closest person that came to that, I think, is Gary Card from Wolmer's.
Gary Carter is an awesome talent, though.
Awesome. Coach,
Yeah, he
awesome is not
is.
the word.
Yeah, he's
Awesome.
ridiculous. Yeah,
He is super, super, super talented.
he's ridiculous.
But the
Nice young
injuries,
man. Nice young man. Outside of the
yes.
sports, yeah, somebody
Okay.
who I have a lot of time for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, nice, very humble young man.
Yes.
Um, who has and he has such a wonderful story. Injuries hit him last year.
Injuries, yeah, yeah.
When his first year too, he barely lost 100 meters at champs.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he was just riddled with injuries. I think they might have adjusted his training program or his coaches. And as a first year one boy to be running as fast as he is going to be doing something special at champs.
Yes, I think so too, because when you look at class one, both the 100 meters and 200 meters, yeah, we're going to see some fireworks there.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people were, and I guess it was early season, wanted to crown a certain person, but as the season progresses, we're like, okay, then it is anybody's race.
Class is that?
Class one, 100 boys.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
it is.
it's loaded.
Yeah.
It's
It's
loaded.
loaded.
Yeah.
What I want is for everybody to finish champs healthy.
Healthy, yes.
It is still unfortunate for me to see Carifta. Is it the week after champs or maybe two
Yeah,
weeks after?
Karista is the week after champs. Yeah.
That's just some unfortunate timing again.
Yeah, the week after.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because to go through 5 days of a tough championship,
Mm-hmm.
to come back to another 3 or 4 days of another tough runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, and
Yeah.
people, I hate, I love Boage and Krume. It still pains me today to see when he went down in that 100 meters at Carifta. And so we have to be careful. And I'm asking coaches to be careful
Mm-hmm.
because Jamaica not going to lose Carifta. So we have to be careful how we send out some of our athletes to milk them. So we have to be very
Mm-hmm.
careful. Yeah, 1 week later. Yeah.
Indeed. So you're saying you're not setting your heart on any of this money, right?
We never ever go after goals like that.
Yeah, yeah.
when Brianna broke the record, we never went after the record. Never, ever went after the
You
record.
did not? No?
No, no.
Wow.
We go at execution of the race.
Okay, okay.
And I
And
think we
she
got, yeah, we
she
got the
was
execution right
flawless.
after a while. Yeah, it wasn't perfect initially,
Yeah.
but we got her execution right, and it just came together at the right time. Yeah.
Success stories. You have so many success stories. You have many, many. The latest two is Brianna Liston, NCAA indoor champion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of her for many reasons.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, she's a student of the sport. She listens well. Um, she never questions what I've asked her to do. She just trusts the process and trusts my advice. She listens well. Um, that's how I could get her to run a 50.8 4x4 leg.
Oh,
She is
wow.
just, as an individual. Brianna is more than just what you see on the track. Brianna is a lot more off the track. And
She
she's
reminds
phenomenal.
me of a certain athlete. I'm sure you've heard it before that
Maureen Otti? No?
Merlin
Yeah,
Otti,
we've heard that. Yeah.
her demeanor, everything, even how she stands in her lane when she's being introduced, she is the mini version of Merlin Otti, and she resembles Merlin Otti.
Heard that. I've seen that too. Yeah. Yeah, she's come a far way,
Yeah.
HP,
And she has grown, she has matured nicely into the sport.
yeah, yeah. And I must now put on record that, big up to the LSU coach for
Yes.
probably taking his time last year when other persons were frustrated from just not seeing her compete. Um,
Mm-hmm,
you know, it's all is not over yet because it's still outdoor season and she has to carry that all the way through to trials. And
mm-hmm,
I know she's going to do well. Um, Somebody posted, one of our girls, Garrel White, I think, posted in a group chat that we all share still, um, that Brianna won primary champs, parish
mm-hmm,
champs, high
mm-hmm,
school champs,
mm-hmm,
world junior champs,
mm-hmm.
champs, boys and girls champs, and now
All
NCAA
the
champs. So
charms.
yeah, I mean,
She is moving. Let me tell you, her transition from one level to the next is awesome. Awesome.
yeah, I mean, and again, her handlers have done well with her,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
appreciate
Yes.
them taking the patience to do that as
Yes.
well.
And I like it how her career is not being rushed to become pro. I like that. Not taking anything
And
away
again,
from
HP,
anyone, but
I don't want anybody to put pressure on her
yes.
to make the Olympic team this year.
Yes.
She's
Yes.
still
I agree. I agree.
probably
I agree.
19, 20. So we have to
Hmm.
be careful. But she will do, I guess, what
Yes.
her program allows her to do. Um,
Hmm.
I think she's going to do well if given the time and the patience
Yeah.
just to grow a little bit more. Yeah.
Indeed. Another one I want to talk quickly about, Lamar Distin. She is just owning the high jump.
Yeah, I think I spoke to Lamar last week. Um, Another special one, and
Yes.
these persons come special. And
Hmm.
again, these persons come special outside of the sport. Um, I remember when the Texas A&M coach came to visit us at HYDEL, and I introduced him to Cherokee Young, who I thought is another special one at the
Hmm.
time,
Yes.
and Lamara Distin, and they went on a visit, and they were sold. That was it, and Mr. Dalton Bailey, who's very close to Lamar Distin, who's or who helps to manage our high school idol team. I'll never forget, she came for trials that year, and she dug in her bag, and she just put something in my hand, and then she put something in Mr. Bailey's hand. And I was shocked. I figured she was just giving me because it was 100 US. I'm
Mm-hmm.
assuming she's saying, take this and spend it on the girls and whatever, whatever, whatever. Lamar texted me the night and texted me to bed the night and said, this is for you. Buy yourself something. And it took me a while to understand what am I going to do with $100? Probably
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bailey still has his. I mean, I probably spent mine on the girls. But it just it came from a place of gratitude.
Yes, indeed.
And to this day, I still will never forget that. I mean, I was still in shock as to what does it all mean? Why did she give me this money? I didn't ask her for any money, you know. So, but I realized it was just a way of her telling us thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Indeed,
and it
indeed,
was
indeed.
really really appreciate. I really am happy for her success. Every time she jumps, I'm just in awe at what she achieved.
She's doing well, doing well.
Yeah,
But what is your secret though, to athletes' development and their progress, their monitoring? Because I've seen where a lot of your athletes over the last few years, I can almost see, I can almost count on my hand how many of them will be making the team, the Jamaica team, very, very soon. I mean, they've started already, but what was your plan or what was your strategy in order to have them run for their school and still be able to transition in the talent that they are? And we're
yeah,
talking
because
about all of these young ladies,
yeah,
so many of
HP. I
them.
mean, again, our focus is not champs, you know, and we don't make the final model for HYDEL High School because there's a chapter after HYDEL. And we must all be patient, recognize that. So we don't kill them. We don't do like this. We do strength training, but we don't do ridiculous strength training. We don't live in the gym. No, we don't. We have a few weights, but we don't have a rigid strength program. Um, because we believe that we must always leave something for the future. And if you
Indeed.
notice at Heidel, I would want to say 90% of our athletes run best at their last year class one,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which would be scary for Alana Reid, right? But
Yes.
our athletes at a normal pace are at their best in their final year in school. So it's just about putting a little bit on each year. It's not max at class three and you're running like a class one athlete at class four, class three, and
Mm-hmm.
everything tapers off after that. You know, it's about building slowly and just putting on a little bit more at a time. Yeah, for
When I
sure.
look when I look back at the World Juniors 2022, you had two athletes finishing first and third. You won the sprint hurdles with Karika Hill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. And
That was
then a world record again.
yeah.
But Keena has a question. He said to ask you, the athletes? How is it that your athletes are so versatile? And that's a very good question because you have a lot of versatile athletes that can run 100, 400, 400-meter hurdles. They can do 4x1. They can do 4x4. They can do sprint hurdles.
I mean, actually, when I was growing up, um, I well at Champs in my final years, I did the multi events at Champs for Wolmer's boys. Um, I played Manning Cup for Wolmer's. I did hockey for Wolmer's. And the point I'm making is that I believe in versatility. I believe in being very rounded. I believe that every athlete who enters Heidel must learn a variety of disciplines until we should never dictate what discipline we want them to do. We must expose them to different disciplines, and then wherever they are excelling, then we can nurture them a little bit more. The truth is that too many coaches. I remember back in the day, there's a traditional school coach who told me that I have two spots in the 200-meter class for, and I'm going to put your girls in there. How does that work? You know, or I have a girl in long. I have a spot in long jump. I need to get your girl in the long jump. Life just doesn't work like that. You know, So we believe in teaching, and I spoke to you about earlier about
Mm-hmm.
getting the art of teaching from my mom, and I think it has helped me to just continue to just help persons and teach persons a variety of events from my personal experience as a multi-event athlete and stuff like that. Yeah.
Reflecting on your coaching practice, what are some of the areas you hope to further develop and improve upon your role as a coach? Coaching boys, coaching girls.
Um. Every year, every month, every week, I try to learn something new. Um. I do a lot of research. Um. I currently have a book that I've just reading. I just read the preface. I haven't even started it. I haven't had the time, but it speaks about just coaching principles and success and just how to measure success and how to the various ways of measuring success and stuff like that. Just philosophies.
Yeah.
I believe a lot in philosophy. I believe that each coach must have their own philosophy. And they must not be, or they must not try to fit into somebody else's philosophy. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to improve my philosophy, and I'm hoping one day I can have a bigger team at HYDEL where I can expose more girls to what we try to do. I'm hoping that at CALABAR I can continue to change the lives of some young men who need help. You know, my greatest joy is when the University of Texas coach called me the other day for one of my boys. I celebrated like it was my own. So I need these boys to get into college. I don't want anybody in my program who has dedicated so much time to track and field to end up um, without a degree. Yeah. I know I haven't answered the question properly, but I think I'm just kind of segueing a little bit into just what I
No, that's
want
fine. That's good.
from them. Yeah. I mean, it's just for me, it's what I want for my own is what I want for everybody. You know,
Indeed.
um,
Indeed.
and I believe that with the boys, you know, if boys don't get the right guidance, things can go south.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And most time when you miss that one opportunity, it never comes back. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm trying my best to make sure that persons who are under my guidance, I can help them to be a better person, both as an athlete and as a person. So
Good.
yeah, that's my
Good. I'm
thing.
I'm going to I'm going to let you go, but not before I ask you this one. I'm going to give you a scenario.
Yeah.
Now, I am the technical director for a team going to a championship. And I called you and I said, "Hey Corey, I need you to be my relay coach. I'm leaving the relay job to you. Pitch me a plan how you would choose a gold medal winning team for my four relay. How would you choose the members of that relay team? Based on what characteristics would you choose the relay team that will win me a gold medal? You're in charge
Four by one or
four
four
by
by four?
one and four by
Yeah.
four.
Um, I will tell you about the four by four. Let me tell you about the four by
All right,
one.
let me tell you about the four by one.
Yeah. So the four by one,
Mm-hmm.
um, different relay teams get success based on the composition of the team. Um, there's certain persons who do things naturally, um, and there's certain things that don't come natural for some. Alana just could not take a button properly. Um, and
Do you think that's psychological?
it can be. I mean, I'm sure she will eventually, but for what we had at the time when she was running with Kerika Hill and stuff, she wasn't necessarily needed to take. Alana has been starting the relay from class 4.
And she's a brilliant starter.
Yeah, because she would often not run off properly at the right time. or she run off too early, or she'd run off and keep looking behind her. So she was too anxious in the receiving of the baton, especially when the stakes were high.
Mm-hmm.
At character trials, she's okay because the stakes are not very high, and she knows no matter what they're going to win. So we compose it differently. There are teams that are rounded, and you can make sure you spread the speed around the track a little bit. And there's some teams you have to just front load it and hope that the ankle leg person get the button out there in time and can hold on. But yeah, not to answer too much about that, but I
You know,
think
somebody in the audience is trying to draw. So somebody said, Dwayne Barrett said, give him the world champs scenario. How would you line up?
email.
How would you line up our four top ladies?
First of all, Sharika would have to learn how to pass a baton because she would have to be on the backstretch. Um,
Coach,
yeah, I mean, there's no way I'm settling for Sharika
coach,
and
come
Corey
out of
Williams.
my head. You need to come out of my head. You need to come out of my
I
head,
will,
coach.
I will. But um, you know,
So where would you put
there's no
Sharika? Where would you put Sharika on the
on the
back?
second leg on the backstretch. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Who would go on the curve?
well, I
You
have to
know
run,
some.
but
You know
I have to
something,
run Elaine
coach.
Thompson based on the form Elaine Thompson ran in the heats.
Yeah.
There is no way I'm leaving Elaine Thompson off the team. Um, and then there's Shelley, and I'd more than likely go with Brianna Williams slash Sasha Lee Forbes
To
because
start.
it's not necessarily the fastest legs every time that will make up a good relay team. It is
Mm-hmm.
who can manage the legs efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
And Brianna Williams has always been a great starter from the days of Carifta.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think in a very similar way, Sasha Lee Forbes have similar attributes. So my starting leg would definitely be between between Brenna Williams and Sasha Lee Forbes. Two, Sharika Jackson. So any deficit I have on the first leg, I'm giving Sharika the longest leg. And I'm going to make sure that her 200 strength, which is most times great for the backstretch, will cover ground. And I'm expecting that running towards another athlete will get a full blown 100-meter, 110 or 20 meters from Sharika Jackson, which is what you need. Um, I'm going to Shelley on the third. Yeah, I'm going to Shelley. Based on the form she was in 10.7 speed. And I think from Sharika to Shelley, Elaine is great enough to anchor that race to victory.
Because you need someone aggressive on the ankle leg. You need someone who will challenge.
And somebody fresh. At
And
that time, Elaine
yes,
was fresh. Yeah,
yeah.
I think she would have done a
Because
great job.
I have seen Merlin Otti on an ankle leg getting the baton at the back and winning that relay. I've seen Elaine done it, and I've seen Shelly. And so your anchor person has to be someone who, even if they get the baton behind, they are hungry enough or determined.
HP, do you remember who ran the third leg for the USA?
Yes, look here, coach. If you're talking about last year, Gabby Thomas ran the third leg. If you're talking about 2022, it was Prendini.
Was
Two
Gabby
very
Thomas in the top four sprinters for the US last year? I
Coach,
don't think
I'm
so.
glad I'm
Not
glad
over
you
100.
asked. I'm glad you
Not
asked me
over
that
100.
question. I'm glad you asked me that question because the relay is my soft spot. It's a very soft spot. And I tell people that when you're choosing a relay team, I am not a coach. This is from watching track and field and common sense. When you're choosing a relay team, especially the sprint relay, you have to put people where their strength lies, and that was what America did 2022 and 2023 and defeated us. Prandini is one of the best curve runner in the 200 meters, even though she has never been on the podium for an individual medal. But put her on the curve, it doesn't matter who you are, she is going to give you a good run. They did it last year with Gabby Thomas, who is also a very good curve runner. So those two relays, personally, I think we got beaten on the third leg. And the
That's
thing
why
is,
and that's why I go with Shelley on the third.
And what I want to ask you, coach, why is it that we don't use a long zone? You have 30 meters.
When you said don't use it, what do you mean?
A lot of times when I watch the relay, I realize that America uses a long zone, but our athletes tend to wait on the baton.
I think what's happening with Jamaica's teams is we don't have relay camps. And I think for us to have any success at that level, you're going up against teams like the USA and Canada and even Japan,
It's not
who I'm
about
sure.
speed.
No, it is about the baton. It is moving the baton around the track the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, speed helps, but it is the exchanging of the baton without it slowing up. When you have a bad exchange, the baton slows up. And once the baton slows up, your time is going to be slower than an average person who can carry the baton quickly.
Mm-hmm.
USA had good changes.
Yes, they did.
And when you're going to carry the baton to the world champion at 10-6, you're not going to beat that team.
And what they did, they used the long zone. They used the long zone. Dwayne is saying we got beaten on Shelly's leg, which was the second leg. I don't think that was where we got beaten because Shelly handed over the baton first. So Shelly did her part to get to the curve. But when you got to the curve, Gabby Thomas actually run around Sasha Lee and gave to Shakari, who used the long zone and was already ahead of Sherika, while Sherika was waiting on the baton.
Yeah, I mean, I guess your interpretation of the long zone is really just maximizing the zone.
Maximizing the zone.
So really that comes from relay practices. If you don't do relay practice, you're going to go for safe changes. And if you go for safe changes, you're going to get the baton relatively early or midway. Relay practices allows you the opportunity to maximize the zone some more. Yeah. So I would implore the Jamaicans who want to do well to start having some relay camps.
Is it that we take it for granted that because we have some of the fastest women, we don't need to practice relay? Yeah. The relay should be easy because we're the fastest and we clean the podium.
That's exactly what it is. Because persons believe that it is just raw foot speed that's going to carry the baton to the finish line first. It's not normally the case. You're going to have some practice, and you're going to have to maximize everybody's qualities. Because when you're going to start a 4x1 with, what's her name from MVP? I don't know her name.
Who is
Natasha Morrison.
Oh, Natasha Morrison, yeah.
Yeah, because Natasha Morrison probably came fourth at the trials. Then what you're doing is you're making a mistake.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination, Natasha Morrison is not great around the curve, especially out of the block.
She's a very good backstretch runner.
Yeah, but I mean, I think too many egos get into play.
Yeah.
And persons say, well, I've earned my right to be here. And the coaches probably have their hands tied because they have to select the top 4.
No, you don't have to. There's no rule that says you have to select the top 4. But why do we continue to do that?
Because you're in your studio saying that. When you're on the ground.
No, but look at it. Look at it, coach.
No, there's no rule that says you must do that.
There's no rule that says you have to pick the top 4.
But whatever stipulations the J3 has with selections would make persons feel that the top 4 has to go.
No, but if you are the relay expert, if I give you 6 athletes and I say to you, Corey, put a relay team together, you should be able to look at those 6 athletes and look where their strength lies. Look who is the best curve runner, who is the best starter, who is more explosive, who is more this. Because if you look at Alyssa Felix is not a 100-meter runner, and throughout her entire career, she lived on the backstretch for America. Why? Because she is suited there.
They did practices as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, let's not take things for granted.
Yeah, someone is saying to ask you about the men 4x1. How would you set up the men 4x1? A lot of questions coming at you now, coach, now that we're
Um,
talking about the relay.
yeah, my instinctive response wouldn't have been nice, but
I know, I
oh
know.
Lord, I mean,
Let's be nice.
yeah, you know, the boys will be better next year. I'm eager to see Kishan, I think is his name from
Kishan
ND.
Thompson, yeah, Kishan
Yeah,
Thompson.
I'm eager to see what he does. Um, I'm eager to see another year with um, other young man from MVP, the shorter one who I think won trials, national trials.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm eager to see him 1 year later.
Yes. Yeah, I know who you're
Yeah,
talking. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm hoping that the other young men can stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You and Blake continues to run, and I'm hoping that Boaj and crewmen, other boys will start to step up to get into the senior ranks
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because a lot of these boys who come from traditional relay schools tend to probably do or understand relay a little better. Not to say that
Yes.
others can't,
Mm-hmm.
but if you think of um, a Boaj and Krumi who can run a starting leg or a back stretch or a third leg or an ankle leg, he's so versatile. I believe he's run all legs for Kingston College. So it makes it easier when you get into a national setup that you
Yeah.
can juggle it a little bit easier and say, okay, we're going to juggle it this way. In 2022, when I was a head coach of the Carter team in Kingston, um, I was in charge of the under 20 girls 4x1, and that included Tia Clayton, Tina Clayton, Serena Cole, and Brenna Liston.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Brenna Liston has run the backstretch all her life, pretty much, but the chemistry between the other three young ladies, what's the point of disturbing that?
Yeah.
So we just adjusted and put Brenna on the third leg,
And
and
she did brilliantly well.
yeah,
Brilliantly
the
well.
entire team did, and
Yes.
they broke the record, the world record at the time, but it wasn't ratified for everybody knows.
Yeah, the
But,
first
but
first world record we get on home soil, we had
yeah,
to
we
erase
dropped the
it. That
ball.
was just
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
we dropped the ball there. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah. I
heartbreaking.
mean, really, I'm very passionate about relays.
Me
It
too. Me
it
too.
says me a lot about team spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a team person. So I believe a lot in just getting some crazy results just from team efforts. Yeah, means a lot.
Someone is asking about Track Love is asking about Olivia St. John, who went to St. Jago and transferred to HYDEL.
What about her?
I think maybe they're asking where she is.
Still at Heidel.
Oh, she's still in school. Okay, okay, she's still in school. Okay, okay, okay. All right, coach. So I guess that was it. But I'm very passionate about the relays. Anybody come on my program, we talk about the relay a little bit because I remember when we lost the relay in 2022 in Eugene. I was there and I remember the American team, somebody from the American team posted and said, it's not about having all the fastest women in the world. And that kind of hit me, but they were right.
It really isn't.
You know,
It
they
really.
were right in their comment because we had clean sweep the podium. We clean sweep the podium 1, 2, 3 and lost the relay, you
Which we
know,
shouldn't have. Which we
which we
shouldn't.
shouldn't have. You know, we shouldn't have. We shouldn't have. But hey, um, oh, somebody's asking if she's injured. They're asking about injuries. St. John.
Yes, she's okay.
She's okay. She's okay doing Barrett. She is fine. Coach said she's fine. Well, Coach, thank you very much for being here. This was a wonderful, wonderful discussion. And again, guys, please roll out that donation. It doesn't have to be big. One cocoa in Jamaica, we said full basket. Please let us roll out for HYDEL, rollout for Jamaica, rollout for our future track stars. Thank you guys very much for being here. Coach Bennett, thank you so much for being here. And
Thanks
I
for
will
having me.
be I will be cheering for you from the shadows. But before we go, is there anything that I did not touch on that you'd like to share?
Nah, I think you touched on everything.
I touched on
I don't
everything.
think I don't think I've ever spoken to somebody for so long, 2 hours and
Oh
40 minutes.
wow. Well,
So
I'm
I
happy.
appreciate it. It was enlightening from your standpoint. I learned a lot from you as well. And I'm hoping that the listeners would have enjoyed our discussions. Um,
They did.
I hope persons can join this blog with more regularity.
Hmm.
I look forward to joining tomorrow as
Yes.
well to listen to your program as well.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
just asking persons to just help me to help us to help some young ladies and young men
Yes.
to be the best that they can be. And I see we can make some more Brenner listings and Lamar listings and Cheyenne Summons.
Indeed, 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 indeed. We have to each one help one. And as we said, at the end of the day, this is Jamaica's legacy. These are our children, they will be representing us in 2 weeks' time at the character games. All of us will be cheering for them at the character games. We will be cheering for them at the World Juniors and as they go along. So, guys, let us put our 2 cents in the basket and bring HYDEL some more glory. Coach Bennett, thank you very much
HP,
for
it has been a
taking
pleasure.
2 hours out of your time. Thank you
No
very much. Thank you. Thank you.
problem.
I
I appreciate you
appreciate it.
having me to forward the cause, and I enjoyed your program. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you did. Share the word. Thank you. Thank you
Bye
so
bye.
much.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. It was a good discussion with Coach Corey Bennett. And guys, please support wherever you're watching from, whether you're watching from Europe, you're watching from Africa, you're watching from North America, South America, Asia. I even see where I have viewers from Antarctica. Who know where Antarctica is? I do have viewers from that continent. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much, guys. Champs is coming up, and I'm excited. I'm very excited, and let us help. If it's even $10, $20, it doesn't matter what you have. Please put something in the kitty. Thank you all for being here. There are so many names: Roderick Daly, Ozzy Dixon, Moonstar, Dwayne Barrett, Carrie Ann Phillips, Kino, Marlene Green, Pool, uh, everybody, Ali by Nature, Track Love. My guest tomorrow will be Nicholas Powell. Nicholas is a performance psychologist, and he will be here tomorrow to talk a little bit about what these young people need to do in order to stay stress free. And also join us tomorrow night. And of course, a chance this year, the outstanding Regina Montague, formerly of Titchfield High School, will be honored at Girls Champs, Boys and Girls Champs. Yes, she was a star back in the day. She will be honored. And of course, Daniel England will also be busy there as a presenter. So, two people from my show will be a part of Boys and Girls Champs this year. So let us celebrate them. Let us wish them well, Daniel England and Regina. Guys, thank you very much. And remember, let us go out for HYDEL. Let us put something in their kitty and support them. Thank you all very much. And I'll see you tomorrow night because Champs 2024 discussion continue. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon wherever you are. Thank you very much. Bye.